Hey, welcome all to my channel. This is Ferocious. Now, a quick thing here is I've broken this series of videos on how to use FinViz in terms of finding swings, volumes, and long-term investments into 3 videos. Now, make sure to watch them all. They're very beneficial, but the basics of these ones can be translated to any of them. If you would like to watch them, they are in a playlist, or you can just search them quickly into my channel. I'll try to add them in the description once they're all done. Hopefully you're coming in from my volume scanner, and this one here I'm going to dive a little bit towards what I do in terms of the swing trading. So let's jump right into this one. So swing trading here is a little bit different. I've already gone through the FinViz platform in my volume scanner. So in swing ones, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get into a stock that is there, that has a little bit of lower volume. People forgot about it in a way. And so what I like to do, there's different volumes and different relative volumes. First, what I like to start with is 1 million, over 1 million. And I go under 75 in terms of relative volume. Now, the float that I try to go for is under 50 because things can move really fast under 50. Now, the next thing here is RSI. I try to not go for not overbought. I don't want the stock to be overbought. And in terms of the 52-week high, that would be more of a judgment call that I'll make. But I usually like it to be, let's say, around 10 to 30% above the low. So we're going to go for 20% above the low. You see here, right off the bat, we have around 97 tickers. That is a lot. So what I want to first start is let's make it a little bit more interesting. I'll go with the technicals, and I'll go with not overbought around less than 50. There we go. We go down to 29. 29 is a bit more manageable for me, and then I'll move on as we go. I'll increase the RSI to maybe 60 later on, and maybe 52-week high. I could put it just all and try to go on and fix it a little. The main important part of this one is volume. Volume moves everything. So quick thing here, ALSK looks weird. APVO looks like it's actually dropping or sliding down all the way from where it was in $10. Once again, you can put under 10 here, and you can able to trim out anything that is above there. ASMB looks like it's actually climbing up a little bit, so I want to look at this one. I want to see what happened. Okay, the next thing here is ARPO. It looks kind of like stabilizing. So I want to look at what BVXV is doing. It looks like it's a really massive bottom here. BCLI. I'm looking at stocks that got a beat up, and you never really heard of them before, and you want to learn more about them to see, well, do they have potential? Was it an overreaction? That's basically what I see swing trading as. This one here, eyes. This looks actually interesting because it looks like it might hit another run, or even I think at this point it's almost heads and shoulders. So this one might be an interesting short. KNDI. Okay, this one here was hit on a whole lot report. Not liking this one here. I'll stay away. Kodak. Yeesh. LYL, okay, this is something I'm interested in. KXIN, maybe. Grill looks like it might drop down to, let's say, 160. Okay, we're gonna go on here. Again, these are not stocks that I'm buying right off the bat. I am looking into them, and I'm putting alerts, and when the price comes into something I like, that's where I'm buying. Alright, so we kind of have a bit of a small pool here. On ASMB, BVXV, BCLI, LYL, KXIN, Grill, and SPI. We'll start first as ASMB. So this is here, you got to do a lot more work than the other one. You're not just scalping volume. You want a good setup, you want a good company, you want to have something that you're interested in. So that's a little bit of a longer process. I'll start it with one of them rather than just doing it with all. And then you can replicate that process with whichever stock you're interested in. And a part of this is also try to do as well a part of your DD or due diligence into this one and technical analysis. So assembly buying cents. First off, price over book. You see how this is 80 cents and the price over sales is 248? This is one of the most important things you want to do in swings is try to find a stock that the price over book or price over sale is low. And the reason that I'm trying to say that is that these are usually the ones that are underpriced. So this one here is not even in there. Now, something to be very, very careful of with healthcare. You notice a lot of these swings are healthcare. Well, this one is a financial credit service in China, but look at the price over sales, 2,640. A big part of the pharmas that I'm kind of giving you a warning of is that they burn through cash like crazy. And a lot of them have a pipeline that isn't really even yet in the market. They have phase 2, phase 1, phase 3. And I remember some stocks that actually have one single basically drug and variants off in terms of the pipeline. And then they end up failing that pipeline and their stock becomes almost worthless at that point, and they can either declare bankruptcy or have a limp of, hoping for a buyout. And what happens often than not is that the stockholders get the short end of that. So, starting off, AS&B. You can easily click on this link here, and it's going to get you to their website. 80 cents, 248. Okay, it looks like it's climbing up a little. It looks like the previous resistance was at 1024. Basically, the report here, inducement grant under NASDAQ listing rule 5635. Let's take a quick look. What happened there? This was all the way back in November. So there we go. A clinical stage biotech company developing innovative therapeutics targeting hepatitis, HPV diseases. They basically, anything here? Nope. We don't have anything. Okay, so there was a module. I really don't trust these guys, but if they have a little bit of an insight to why it plunged down to 69.4%. Okay, disappointing results Thursday evening from a phase 2 VBR. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take this as granted. I go back and I check, was that news actually there? So what you have to do is just quickly scan. There you go. Provides updates, ongoing phase 2 extension of the VB Corver. Okay, so we go back here and try to read into this one. So there we go. Okay, it remains on track for the first half, but nonetheless, clinical disease associated microbiome provides an update to ongoing label phase 2 designs, patients need therapy. So you gotta just read it a little, and then the study has not achieved meaningful SVR rates, as 39 of 41 patients now have relapsed. Okay, so you get to see why it actually dropped. So now I want to know is, what is their other pipelines? So through their website, you're able to easily locate their pipelines, whether through investor relations or through just programs in general. So programs, taking a quick into pipelines, they have different pipeline items here. You get to see it is into HPV and microbiome. Is it worth it? That's where you start trying to find a little bit of different catalysts. Usually, they're found for a lot of pharmas in news or under investors in a presentation where they have different timelines. You can also check when they filed for something like a phase 2 or a phase 3 IND and how long it takes for an approval. These kind of things usually drive the price point up. Now, in order to look a little bit further into this one here, you want to look into the technical analysis point of view. So in the technical analysis point of view, since you're doing a little bit of a longer term, you're going to do, let's say, a 1 week perspective first. You get to see it is trying to break into that MACD, trying to go towards positive. So you might actually get a little bit of a run. The next thing here is 1 day. 1 day looks like it's been sloppy all around. The indicators have been still a little bit broken. It looks like it was at some point back 460 and then jumped all the way to 67 in 2018 and then dropped back down. So it has history of going up and down. It doesn't look like it's a whole bad company. It's just having a rough time. Now, the next thing is I want to look a little bit shorter on the 2 hours. It's not much interesting. It's just basically choosing the best entry. So here is where I start choosing supports and resistances. Now, I haven't done a full DD, but if you have done and you found some things that are interesting that you think that the company will probably bounce back from them, they have enough capital. That's an important thing. You want to know they have enough cash. I'll show you how to do it in a second. Then you might think, okay, I want to buy at 573 because that looks like to be a strong resistance before, so that's currently strong support. So in that sense, now I want to know if they have enough cash. And one of the best ways to do it, honestly, or one of the best ways I like to do it, is through SEC filings. Sometimes that is a little bit harder to pull up. So what I'm going to do quickly is look up the symbol on Yahoo Finance. And from there on, just before going on, we need to look if they have any offerings or anything or any news about money since the last quarter, which would be September. I don't see anything in that sense. Okay, so the probably amount of money they have since September wouldn't change that much significantly. So you go up to their financials tab. you'll go to their balance sheet, you go to quarter, so you can get the last 2020 quarter, or if you're watching this in 2021 down the future in line, it'll be 2021. You want to take a look at their total assets and their total debt. Total debt is around 10.7 million. Their total assets is around 306 million. Total current assets, when you want to look at is cash, they are loaded on cash around 238 million, while their debt is low. Okay, I think they probably have other things in the pipeline, and they're good. Of course, they're pre-revenue, so while they do have some revenue, but revenue is not that strong, so just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing here is I want to double check statistics. The price over book, etc. Sometimes Yahoo Finance doesn't have it. So as I get to see, they don't actually have price over book, etc. information, but nonetheless, we're able to get that from Yahoo Finance. The float is 24.78. That means on a good news, you might actually see it skyrocket. So there you go. This can be very much possible a swing that I'm interested in, and I keep digging and digging. The more you dig, the more you find, the better your case is. If you can actually explain it to someone and you're confident enough to convince them to trade into the stock, then only trade. If you're in just because you're bored and desperate of getting money, that is not a good way. You want to separate your emotions. You don't want to be looking at, okay, well, 613, it gotta go to 28, pack up, it's part of time. It's not how it works. You need to be confident enough to be able to explain it to someone else. So we can redo this one with BVXV, BCLI, LYL, and all these other stuff. But in that sense, basically, you keep replicating this process until you find a pool of tickers which you have the watch list. And this would take all day. I usually have Sunday evenings just for that, where I keep looking and looking on it. Of course, if the market does crash, and let's say in 2021, God forbid, the Dow or the Nasdaq drops down like, I don't know, 20%, all stocks will suffer. Just keep that in mind. Now, the next video in the series, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go a little bit towards longer-term investment. It's going to be a shorter video. Make sure to watch that one. And if you haven't watched the previous one about the volume, please make sure to do so. Have a wonderful day.